Imagine waking up tomorrow as the strongest version of yourself, not physically, but mentally. A mind that doesn't waver in the face of difficulty. A mind that sees setbacks not as defeats, but as lessons. A mind that remains calm, even when the world around it is in chaos. This isn't some unattainable ideal. It's something that has been practiced for centuries by those who understood that true strength isn't about controlling the world, but mastering oneself. Throughout history, some of the greatest minds have sought a simple yet powerful truth: how to live a life of meaning, resilience, and wisdom. The answer, time and time again, has led back to a philosophy that doesn't promise comfort, but offers something far more valuable: freedom from suffering. This is Stoicism, the mindset that has shaped emperors, warriors, and visionaries, and today, it has the power to shape you. Imagine walking through life unshaken by insults, unaffected by failures, and unfazed by the temporary highs and lows that once dictated your emotions. Picture yourself in a heated argument, but instead of reacting impulsively, you pause, analyze, and respond with clarity. Think about the last time you were frustrated, stuck in traffic, dealing with an unfair situation, facing rejection. What if instead of anger, you could transform that energy into something useful? What if you could see those moments as opportunities rather than obstacles? This is not about suppressing emotions or becoming indifferent. It's about control. It's about learning to rule your own mind so that external events no longer have power over you. Imagine what you could achieve if fear didn't hold you back, if criticism didn't shake your confidence, and if setbacks didn't break your spirit. The truth is, most people are prisoners of their own thoughts. They react instead of act. They seek happiness in things they cannot control, only to find themselves disappointed. But those who master their minds master their lives. There is no secret formula, no complicated ritual. The principles are simple, but their power lies in their application. Every day, you are faced with countless decisions: what to focus on, how to react, where to place your energy. Every moment is an opportunity to practice mastery over yourself. The key lies in shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing obstacles as unfair burdens, see them as training grounds. Instead of fearing discomfort, embrace it as a teacher. Instead of resisting change, adapt and grow. The Stoics had a phrase, amor fati, love of fate. It means not only accepting what happens, but embracing it as necessary for your growth. When you start to see life this way, nothing can truly harm you. The loss of a job, the end of a relationship, the failure of a project, these are not punishments. They are invitations to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The only real failure is refusing to learn from experience. But let's go deeper. What does it truly mean to live with a Stoic mindset? It means understanding that suffering is often a choice, not in the sense that pain isn't real, of course it is, but in the sense that our response to pain is where our power lies. Two people can experience the same setback, yet one crumbles while the other rises. The difference? Perspective. The Stoic knows that external events are beyond control, but internal reactions are a choice. Think about the last time something upset you. Maybe someone insulted you, or you felt ignored, or a plan didn't go as expected. In that moment, did you control your emotions, or did they control you? Did you respond with wisdom, or did you let the situation dictate your state of mind? Most people react on autopilot, allowing their emotions to rule them. But imagine the power of breaking free from that cycle. Now, this isn't about suppressing emotions. The Stoics never said you shouldn't feel. They simply believed that emotions should serve you, not enslave you. It's one thing to feel anger, but another to be consumed by it. It's one thing to experience fear, but another to let it dictate your actions. A Stoic acknowledges emotions, but does not become their prisoner. Think about Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at his time, ruling the vast Roman Empire. With all his power, he faced betrayal, war, loss, and personal suffering. He could have let his emotions control him, but instead he trained his mind. He reminded himself daily that he controlled nothing but his own thoughts and actions. His private writings, now known as meditations, weren't meant for the world. They were his personal reminders to stay disciplined, to remain calm, to keep perspective. If a man ruling millions of people could maintain his inner peace, what excuse do we have? Epictetus, born a slave, had every reason to resent his fate. He had no control over his circumstances, yet he became one of the greatest philosophers of all time, teaching that while we don't control external events, we control our interpretations. His words echo through history. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Imagine internalizing this mindset. The next time something doesn't go your way, instead of frustration, you pause. You remind yourself, this is an opportunity to practice resilience. Instead of seeing an insult as an attack, you see it as irrelevant, because your worth is not dictated by others. Instead of dwelling on the past, you focus on the only thing you can control, this moment. Most people will never reach this level of mental clarity because they refuse to take responsibility for their own minds. They blame others, they make excuses, they seek comfort instead of growth. But you are different. You are here because you are ready to evolve, to take control, to master yourself. The path will not be easy. It requires constant practice. Every day, every situation, every challenge is a chance to apply these principles. You will face moments of weakness, times when old habits try to pull you back. But each time you resist, you grow stronger. Each time you choose discipline over impulse, you move closer to freedom. True power is not in wealth, fame, or external success. It is in the ability to remain steady when the world shakes around you. It is in the ability to find peace, no matter the circumstances. It is in the realization that you, and only you, are responsible for your own mind. Now ask yourself, are you ready to step into this power, to take ownership of your thoughts, to stop being ruled by things outside your control and start mastering the one thing that truly belongs to you, your mind? The journey begins now. The journey begins with awareness. Most people sleepwalk through life, reacting rather than acting, blaming rather than taking responsibility. But the moment you become aware of your own patterns, you gain the power to change them. Imagine observing your thoughts as if you were an outsider, watching your reactions, noticing your impulses without immediately acting on them. This is the first step toward mastery, separating yourself from the automatic responses that have controlled you for so long. Think of a time when you felt overwhelmed by emotion. Maybe it was anger, disappointment, or frustration. In that moment, did you pause? Did you examine the feeling before reacting, or did you let it take over? The Stoic practice is simple, yet profound. Instead of being consumed by emotion, you observe it. You recognize that your feelings do not define you. They are merely signals, and you get to decide what to do with them. This is where true strength is found, not in pretending emotions don't exist, but in mastering them. Imagine walking into a difficult situation, perhaps a high-stakes meeting, a personal confrontation, or an unexpected challenge. A mind that is untrained will react impulsively, clouded by fear, anger, or insecurity. A mind trained in Stoicism, however, remains clear. It sees the situation for what it is, nothing more, nothing less. It does not add unnecessary meaning or let emotions dictate its response. But this level of mastery doesn't happen overnight. It is built through daily practice. Every frustration, every setback, every challenge is an opportunity. When someone insults you, you can react with anger, or you can see it as training in patience. When you face rejection, you can let it crush you, or you can see it as a lesson in resilience. When things don't go as planned, you can complain, or you can use it as a chance to strengthen your adaptability. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that people would be rude, selfish, and unfair. Instead of expecting the world to be perfect, he prepared himself to face its imperfections with grace. This mental preparation is key. When you accept that challenges are inevitable, they lose their power over you. Instead of being caught off guard, you meet them with a steady mind. Consider Epictetus again, the man who began life as a slave, yet became one of the greatest philosophers of all time. He taught that external circumstances are beyond our control, but our interpretations and reactions are entirely within our power. He would ask his students, if someone insults you, who is harmed? The insulter, or the one who lets the insult affect him? The lesson is clear. No one can harm you unless you allow them to. This doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you choose how to engage with it. When adversity strikes, you have a choice. You can see yourself as a victim, or you can see yourself as a warrior in training. Every hardship is an opportunity to practice discipline, patience, and wisdom. Every difficulty is a chance to sharpen your mind. But let's go even deeper. What about fear? Fear is one of the greatest obstacles to living a full life. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty. The Stoics understood that fear is often an illusion. Most of the things we fear never happen. And even when they do, they are rarely as devastating as we imagine. Seneca, one of the most influential Stoics, had a practice. He would intentionally live for a few days as if he had lost everything. He would wear simple clothes, eat the most basic food, and sleep on the floor. Why? Because he wanted to prove to himself that even if the worst happened, he could endure it. And if he could endure it, he had nothing to fear. Now think about your own fears. What is stopping you from taking action in your life? Is it the fear of failure? The fear of what others might think? The fear of discomfort? Imagine if you removed that fear. How much more could you achieve? The Stoic mindset teaches that fear only has power if you feed it. But if you face it, question it, and challenge it, it begins to fade. Most people live their lives avoiding discomfort, but the truth is, discomfort is where growth happens. The more you expose yourself to challenges, the stronger you become. Just as a muscle grows through resistance, your mind grows through adversity. This is why the Stoics embraced hardship. They didn't wish for an easy life. They wished for the strength to handle whatever life threw at them. They didn't seek comfort. They sought resilience. And because of that, they found a freedom that most people never experience. Imagine what it would feel like to walk through life with that kind of confidence. Not the false confidence that depends on external validation, but the deep, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. Because true confidence is not about pretending to be fearless. It is about knowing that fear cannot control you. And this isn't just about handling problems. It's about how you approach life itself. The Stoics believed in living with purpose, in making the most of every moment. They constantly reminded themselves of their mortality, not to be morbid, but to inspire action. They asked themselves, if today were your last day, would you be proud of how you lived? Think about that. If today were your last day, would you be content with how you spent your time? Or would you realize that you've been wasting it on things that don't matter, worrying about opinions, chasing things that don't bring real fulfillment, delaying the things that truly matter? Most people avoid thinking about death, but the Stoics embraced it as the ultimate motivator. Knowing that time is limited makes every moment more valuable. It forces you to ask, am I living with intention? Am I focusing on what truly matters? Or am I letting distractions and fears dictate my life? Because here's the truth. You don't control how long you live, but you do control how you live. Every day is an opportunity to choose discipline over distraction, purpose over passivity, wisdom over impulse. Every day is a chance to practice becoming the person you were meant to be. And this practice never ends. It is not about achieving perfection, but about constant improvement. Some days you will fail. Some days you will let emotions get the best of you. Some days you will struggle to stay on the path. But the difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck is simple. The ones who grow keep going. No matter how many times they stumble, they get back up. No matter how difficult the journey, they stay on the path. Because they understand that mastery is not about never failing. It is about never giving up. The true test of strength is not how well you perform when everything is going your way, but how you respond when nothing goes as planned. Life will challenge you. People will disappoint you. Obstacles will appear when you least expect them. The difference between those who thrive and those who suffer isn't luck, talent, or intelligence. It's mindset. It's the ability to face hardship without losing yourself. Imagine two people facing the same setback, maybe a financial loss, a betrayal, or an unexpected failure. One of them breaks under the pressure, drowning in self-pity, blaming others, feeling powerless. The other stands firm, taking full ownership, asking, what can I learn? How can I grow? How do I move forward? The event is the same, but the response is completely different, and that response determines everything. This is why the Stoics trained themselves to see adversity as fuel. To them, hardship wasn't something to avoid, it was something to use. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very thing you see as an obstacle is the path forward. That rejection, it forces you to improve. That failure, it teaches you resilience. That betrayal, it reveals who truly deserves your trust. But most people don't think this way. They resist difficulty. They hope for an easy life, free of struggle. And because of that, they suffer more than they need to. They waste energy complaining about things they can't control, instead of focusing on what they can. They let external events dictate their internal state instead of mastering their own mind. And in doing so, they give away their power. You have a choice. You can spend your life reacting, complaining about unfair situations, getting angry at people who wrong you, fearing what might go wrong. Or you can take control. You can train your mind to be steady no matter what happens. You can develop the kind of inner strength that nothing can shake. This isn't just about handling problems. It's about unlocking a new level of freedom. Because once you master your own mind, nothing external can control you. You stop being at the mercy of circumstances. You stop depending on the opinions of others. You stop fearing the unpredictable nature of life, because you realize that no matter what happens, you will adapt. Think about what that would feel like. To wake up every day with a deep sense of confidence, not because life is easy, but because you know you can handle whatever comes your way. To face challenges without panic, setbacks without self-doubt, criticism without insecurity. To move through life with the kind of calm that most people only dream of. That level of mastery is possible, but it doesn't come from wishful thinking. It comes from training, from daily practice. Every time you face frustration, you have an opportunity to build patience. Every time you feel fear, you have a chance to build courage. Every time life throws chaos at you, you have a moment to build resilience. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who have perfect circumstances. They are the ones who use every circumstance, good or bad, as training. They don't waste time wishing things were different. They use what they have. They adapt. They move forward. And here's the thing. This isn't just about philosophy. This is about results. Look at the most successful people in any field. The ones who rise to the top aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who faced setbacks, failures, rejection, and kept going. They didn't wait for motivation. They didn't need perfect conditions. They trained themselves to push forward no matter what. Most people don't do this. Most people quit when things get hard. They let obstacles discourage them. They let failure define them. They let fear stop them from even trying. But the people who understand this mindset see things differently. They see struggle as a test, not a reason to stop. They see failure as feedback, not as a dead end. They see discomfort as a sign of growth, not something to avoid. And because of that, they become unstoppable. But there's another part of this. It's not just about resilience. It's about focus. Because in today's world, most people are not just weak. They are distracted. They waste hours on meaningless things, scrolling endlessly, chasing dopamine, jumping from one distraction to another. They don't even realize that their greatest enemy isn't external. It's their own lack of discipline. The Stoics understood this. They knew that if you don't control your attention, you don't control your life. This is why they practiced simplicity. They eliminated the unnecessary. They focused only on what truly mattered. Ask yourself, how much of your time is spent on things that don't bring real value? How often do you get caught up in pointless arguments, mindless entertainment, or temporary pleasure that adds nothing to your long-term growth? How often do you distract yourself from the things that actually matter? The harsh truth is, most people waste their potential, not because they don't have talent, but because they don't have discipline. They let their time slip away, assuming they'll always have more of it. But time is the one thing you can never get back. And if you don't take control of it now, one day you'll wake up realizing you've wasted years on things that didn't matter. So what's the solution? Clarity, purpose, ruthless focus. If you want to change your life, stop wasting time on things that don't serve you. Cut out distractions. Choose discipline over comfort. Learn to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. Train yourself to focus on what truly matters, not just what feels good in the moment. This is how you break free from the cycle of mediocrity. This is how you rise above the average. This is how you create a life that you're actually proud of. And it all starts now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, because if you wait for the perfect moment, it will never come. If you wait for motivation, you'll never start. The only way to build strength, discipline, and mastery is through action, through doing, not just thinking. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? There is no perfect moment to start, no guarantee that the conditions will ever be ideal. If you wait for the stars to align, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, the only thing standing between you and progress is the decision to begin, not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, most people hesitate. They overthink, they doubt, they let fear creep in. They tell themselves they need more time, more knowledge, more certainty. But the most successful people in history didn't wait. They took action, even when they weren't ready. They moved forward, even when they were afraid. They knew that clarity comes from action, not the other way around. Because the reality is, no one is ever fully prepared. No one starts with all the answers. The only way to learn is by doing. The only way to grow is by stepping into the unknown. And the only way to succeed is by embracing failure as part of the process. That's why the Stoics trained themselves to focus only on what they could control. They didn't waste time worrying about what might happen or waiting for everything to be perfect. They took responsibility for their actions, their mindset, their effort, because those were the only things within their power. Think about your own life. How much time have you spent hesitating? How many opportunities have you let pass by because you were waiting for the right time? How many dreams have you put on hold because you were afraid of failing? Now imagine if you had just started. Imagine where you would be now if you had taken action instead of waiting. The progress you could have made, the skills you could have built, the person you could have become. But here's the good news. It's not too late. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. The only thing that matters is what you do from this moment forward. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop letting fear and doubt control you. Take action. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Adjust. Keep going. Because the sooner you start, the sooner you will see results. But there's something else you need to understand. Taking action isn't enough. You have to be willing to persist, to endure, to keep going even when things don't go as planned. Because the road to success isn't smooth. It's filled with obstacles, failures, and setbacks. This is where most people give up. They start strong, but the moment things get difficult, they quit. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be. They make excuses. They walk away. But the ones who truly succeed, they don't quit. They don't stop when it gets hard. They push through. They embrace the struggle. They understand that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger. This is the mindset of the Stoics. They didn't just endure hardship. They welcomed it. They saw every difficulty as a test, every obstacle as a chance to prove their strength. And because of that, they became unshakable. Imagine if you adopted this mindset. Imagine if you stopped seeing problems as roadblocks and started seeing them as stepping stones. Imagine if you trained yourself to stay calm in the face of adversity, to keep moving forward no matter what. How different would your life be? How much more could you accomplish? How much stronger would you become? This is the power of resilience. This is what separates those who achieve great things from those who settle for less. But resilience alone isn't enough. You also need discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Because motivation is unreliable. It fades. Some days you'll feel inspired. but most days you won't. And if you rely on motivation, you'll never be consistent. That's why discipline is so important. It's what keeps you moving forward when motivation is gone. It's what allows you to show up every day, put in the work, and make progress, even when you don't feel like it. The Stoics understood this. They knew that self-control was the key to freedom, that the ability to master your impulses, emotions, and distractions was what set the strong apart from the weak. Because the truth is, most people are slaves to their own mind. They let their emotions control them. They give in to temptation. They procrastinate. They seek comfort over progress. And because of that, they never reach their full potential. But you don't have to be like most people. You can train yourself to be different, to develop the discipline to do what's necessary, no matter how you feel, to build habits that move you forward instead of holding you back, to take control of your life instead of letting life control you. And once you do that, everything changes, because discipline leads to freedom, the freedom to achieve your goals, the freedom to live on your own terms, the freedom to create the life you want, instead of settling for the one you're given. But it starts with a choice, a decision to stop waiting, to stop making excuses, to stop letting fear, doubt, and distractions hold you back. Because at the end of the day, you have two options. You can continue as you are, making the same mistakes, living the same way, getting the same results, or you can change. You can take control. You can start today. And once you do, once you commit to this path, you'll realize something powerful. The life you want isn't as far away as you think. It's not reserved for the lucky, the talented, or the privileged. It's available to anyone who is willing to do the work. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that we'll start tomorrow, that we'll get serious about our goals next week, that we'll change when the timing is better, when we have more energy, when life is less chaotic. But deep down, we know that tomorrow never comes, that someday is an illusion, that if we don't act now, we never will. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you'd start something and never followed through? How many dreams have you delayed because you thought you weren't ready? How many opportunities have you missed because you were waiting for the perfect moment? The truth is, the perfect moment doesn't exist. There will always be distractions, obstacles, and reasons to wait. But waiting won't get you anywhere. The only thing that creates progress is action, and yet most people spend their lives waiting. They let fear, doubt, and hesitation hold them back. They convince themselves that they need more time, more knowledge, more certainty before they begin. But the people who achieve great things, they don't wait. They start before they're ready. They take risks. They step into discomfort. Because that's where growth happens. That's where transformation begins. Think about your own life. What have you been putting off? What goal have you been telling yourself you'll start someday? What dream have you been neglecting because you're afraid of failing? Now ask yourself, what's stopping you from starting today? Is it fear? Is it self-doubt? Is it the belief that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough? Because if that's what's holding you back, you need to realize something. None of those thoughts are real. They're just stories you've been telling yourself, limiting beliefs you've accepted as truth. But they're lies, lies designed to keep you in your comfort zone, to stop you from reaching your full potential. And the only way to break free from them is to take action, to prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are strong enough, that you are more than your doubts, more than your fears, more than the voice in your head telling you to stay where you are. This is why the Stoics focused on action. They didn't waste time worrying about what might happen. They didn't sit around waiting for motivation. They simply did what needed to be done. Because they knew that action is the cure for fear, the antidote to doubt, the only way to create real change. And that's exactly what you need to do. Stop thinking, stop overanalyzing, stop waiting for permission. Just start. Start small if you have to. Take the first step. Build momentum. Let action fuel your confidence. Let progress silence your doubts. Because once you start, something incredible happens. You realize that fear is an illusion, that failure isn't the end. It's part of the process. That every mistake, every setback, every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. And the more you push forward, the stronger you become. The more disciplined, the more resilient, the more unstoppable. This is the mindset that separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. The ability to move forward despite fear, the willingness to embrace discomfort, the discipline to take action even when you don't feel like it. Because motivation will fail you. It will come and go. Some days you'll feel inspired, but most days you won't. And if you rely on motivation, you'll never be consistent. That's why discipline is everything. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation disappears. It's what allows you to push through resistance, to stay committed even when progress is slow. And this is something the Stoics mastered. They trained themselves to do what needed to be done, regardless of how they felt. Because they understood that feelings are fleeting, but action is what shapes your destiny. Now ask yourself, what would your life look like if you applied this mindset? If you stopped waiting and started doing? If you trained yourself to be disciplined instead of dependent on motivation? If you made a commitment to yourself and actually followed through? Because the truth is, your future is being shaped by the choices you make right now. Every moment you waste is a moment you can never get back. Every excuse you make is a step further from the life you want. But every action you take, that's progress, that's momentum, that's proof that you are in control. So what will you choose? Will you keep waiting, keep hesitating, keep telling yourself the same excuses? Or will you take control? Will you step up, take action, and finally start becoming the person you were meant to be? Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. A choice, a decision, and the only person who can make it is you. Most people don't realize how much control they actually have. They think their circumstances define them. They believe their past mistakes limit their future. They convince themselves that their potential is fixed, that their abilities are predetermined, that success is only for the lucky or the talented. But none of that is true. The reality is, your life is shaped by your choices. Every single decision you make, how you spend your time, what habits you build, whether you take action or stay stagnant, determines the direction you're heading. And the most dangerous thing you can do is underestimate how much power you have. Because the moment you believe you're powerless, you stop trying. You let fear control you. You settle for less than you're capable of. The Stoics understood this. They knew that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond. You can control your attitude, your effort, your mindset. And that's what makes the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's the ability to take responsibility for your life, to stop making excuses, to stop waiting for things to change, and start making them change. Think about this. How different would your life be if you fully embraced this mindset? If you stopped blaming circumstances and started focusing on what you can control? If you took every setback as a lesson instead of an excuse to quit? If you developed the discipline to push forward no matter what? Because the truth is, most people won't do this. Most people will continue to procrastinate, to give in to fear, to let distractions pull them away from what really matters. And that's why most people never reach their full potential. That's why they stay stuck in the same patterns, the same routines, the same cycle of regret. But you don't have to be like most people. You can choose differently. You can choose to rise above your excuses. You can choose to do the hard things, to embrace discomfort, to take full ownership of your actions. It won't be easy. There will be days when you don't feel like it. There will be moments when quitting seems like the better option. But this is where real growth happens. This is where you prove to yourself who you really are. Because every time you push through resistance, you become stronger. Every time you stay disciplined when you don't feel like it, you build the kind of mental toughness that separates the weak from the strong. And if you stay consistent, if you commit to the process, if you refuse to let fear dictate your actions, you will see results. You will transform. You will look back one day and realize that everything you once thought was impossible was just waiting for you to take action. So the question is, what will you do next? Will you keep making the same choices, repeating the same patterns, hoping that somehow things will magically change? Or will you take control, step up, and finally do what you know needs to be done? There's a moment in everyone's life when they realize that waiting isn't a strategy. Hoping things will improve on their own is just another way of surrendering to circumstances. The world doesn't owe you a perfect opportunity, a flawless plan, or a risk-free path. If you're waiting for the stars to align, for everything to feel easy and effortless, you'll be waiting forever. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it when I feel ready," or "I just need a little more time"? Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly you're looking back at years of missed chances, knowing deep down that you could have acted sooner. The problem isn't the lack of opportunity. The problem is hesitation, fear, and the false belief that you need more certainty before making a move. But here's the truth. The perfect moment never comes. There will always be doubt, always be uncertainty, always be reasons to postpone. And that's exactly why the people who succeed are the ones who act despite their doubts. They step forward while everyone else is still stuck in their heads, overanalyzing every possible outcome. They make decisions, take risks, and learn as they go. Because the reality is, action creates clarity. You don't figure things out by sitting still. You figure them out by moving forward. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you experience, the more you grow. And as you grow, you realize that most of the fears that held you back were nothing more than illusions, barriers created by your own mind. So ask yourself, what's really stopping you? Is it the fear of failure? The fear of what others might think? The fear that you're not good enough? These are the same fears that have stopped countless others from reaching their full potential. But those who rise above them, those who push forward anyway, are the ones who shape their own destiny. You don't need permission to start. You don't need someone else to tell you it's okay to chase what you want. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is your willingness to take that first step. And the moment you do, everything changes. That first step might feel small. It might even feel insignificant. But in reality, it's the most powerful thing you can do. Because once you start moving, momentum takes over. What once seemed impossible becomes manageable. What once felt overwhelming starts to make sense. And before you know it, you're no longer stuck in the same place, thinking about what could have been. You're living it. Look back at every major breakthrough in history, every great achievement, every success story. None of them happened because someone waited for the perfect moment. They happened because someone dared to act, even when things weren't certain, even when they weren't fully prepared. The people who accomplish the most aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who fail, learn, adapt, and keep going. And that's where most people get it wrong. They think failure is a sign to stop, when in reality, it's just part of the process. Every setback, every mistake, every wrong turn is a lesson disguised as a challenge. It's life's way of asking, how badly do you want this? And if you let failure stop you, then maybe you never wanted it badly enough in the first place. But if you push through, if you refuse to give up, something incredible happens. You start seeing failure differently. You stop fearing it and start using it. Every failure gives you knowledge. Every misstep sharpens your instincts. And every moment of doubt, if faced correctly, strengthens your resolve. Over time, you become someone who isn't easily shaken, someone who doesn't break under pressure, someone who rises no matter how many times they fall. Because in the end, success isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's not about having the perfect plan. It's about persistence. It's about resilience. It's about having the courage to keep going, even when everything in you wants to quit. And that's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Not intelligence, not background, not resources, just the willingness to keep moving forward, no matter what. That willingness is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary ones. It's what allows someone with no special advantages to rise above those who seem to have everything handed to them. Because while talent and intelligence can give you a head start, they mean nothing without the determination to keep pushing forward when things get tough. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have accomplished incredible things, who seem unstoppable. Do you think they never struggled? Do you think they never doubted themselves? Of course they did. The difference is, they didn't let those doubts define them. They felt the fear and moved forward anyway. They failed, but instead of seeing failure as a wall, they saw it as a stepping stone. And that's the secret. The people who win in life aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to let failure stop them. They understand that failure is just feedback. It's telling you what doesn't work so you can adjust and try again. It's not a dead end. It's a detour. But most people don't see it that way. They hit an obstacle and immediately assume they're not good enough, that it wasn't meant to be, that they should quit. That's why so many people stay stuck. Not because they're incapable, but because they convince themselves that obstacles mean they're on the wrong path. But what if the obstacles are actually proof that you're on the right path? What if every challenge you face is simply a test to see how badly you want it? Because here's the truth. If you're not willing to push through resistance, you'll never get anywhere meaningful. Anything worth having will test you. Success isn't given, it's earned. And the only way to earn it is to show up every day, do the work, and refuse to quit, no matter how difficult it gets. That's what separates those who live the life they want from those who only dream about it. The ability to keep going, even when the odds seem against them. The ability to trust that if they stay consistent, if they keep learning, if they keep adapting, they will eventually break through. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But most people never reach that breakthrough because they stop too soon. They give up when it gets uncomfortable. They convince themselves that if it were meant for them, it would be easier. But nothing great has ever come from taking the easy path. The easy path leads to regret. The easy path leads to wondering what could have been if only you had tried a little harder, pushed a little longer, believed in yourself just a little more. The truth is, you're always making a choice. Every single day, with every decision you make, you're either moving closer to the life you want or further away from it. There is no standing still. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you're not pushing forward, you're falling behind. And the worst part, most people don't even realize it's happening. They think they have time. They think they can put off their dreams until later. But later turns into never. And one day, they wake up and realize they spent their entire life waiting instead of living. Don't let that be you. Don't let fear, doubt, or temporary setbacks steal your future. You have the power to change your story. Right now, in this moment. Because your future isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you create. Every action you take is either building the life you want or tearing it down. The question is, what are you building? Are you building a life you'll be proud of? One where you can look back and know you gave it everything? Or are you building a life filled with excuses, regret, and what-ifs? Because one day, you will look back, and the only thing worse than failure is knowing you never really tried. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for motivation to magically appear. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. This is your life, and no one is coming to save you. No one is going to do it for you. You have to decide right now that you're done making excuses, that you're done settling for less than you deserve, that you're done letting fear control your decisions. Because fear will always be there. Doubt will always be there. But you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to let it win. Instead, you can choose to act in spite of it. You can choose to take that first step, even if it's small. You can choose to do something today that moves you forward, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. And once you do that, something incredible happens. You realize that fear doesn't control you, that failure isn't the end of the world, that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. And that realization changes everything. Because once you know what you're truly capable of, there's no going back. You can't unsee it. You can't unknow it. So what are you going to do with that knowledge? Will you use it? Or will you ignore it and go back to the way things were? The choice is yours. But remember this, your life will always be a reflection of your choices. And every single choice you make is shaping your future, whether you realize it or not. And that future is coming, whether you're ready for it or not. The question is, will it be the future you want or the one you settle for? Because life doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It keeps moving with or without you. And if you're not intentional about where you're going, you'll wake up one day in a place you never wanted to be, wondering how you got there. That's why every choice matters. Not just the big ones, but the small ones too. The moments when no one is watching, the decisions that seem insignificant but add up over time. Because those are the choices that shape your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. Think about it. What do you do when you're tired? Do you push through, or do you quit? What do you do when things don't go as planned? Do you adapt, or do you make excuses? What do you do when fear creeps in, whispering that you're not good enough? Do you believe it, or do you keep going anyway? Because the truth is, success isn't about luck. It's not about talent. It's about consistency. It's about discipline. It's about showing up. Even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when you don't see results right away. Because that's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They're the ones who refused to give up, the ones who kept going long after everyone else had stopped, the ones who understood that progress isn't always obvious, but it's always happening. And that's what you need to remember. Just because you don't see results today doesn't mean you're not making progress. Just because it feels slow doesn't mean it's not working. Every step forward, no matter how small, is still a step forward. And every step forward brings you closer to where you want to be. But most people never get there. Not because they're incapable, but because they stop too soon. They let frustration win. They let self-doubt win. They let the discomfort of the process convince them that it's not worth it. But what they don't realize is that discomfort is the price of growth. That struggle is proof that you're moving forward. That the moments when you feel like quitting are the moments when you're actually getting stronger. Because growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when things are hard. It happens when you push past your limits. When you do the things you don't want to do. When you stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. Because motivation fades, discipline doesn't. And discipline is what will separate you from everyone else. Discipline is what will turn your dreams into reality. Not luck, not talent, not waiting for the perfect moment. Just showing up, again and again, no matter what. And that's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The ones who win aren't necessarily the most talented, the most intelligent, or the luckiest. They're the ones who refuse to quit, the ones who keep showing up, the ones who understand that every effort, every struggle, every small step forward is building something greater. So now, it's your turn. No more waiting for the right moment. No more making excuses. No more doubting yourself. You have everything you need to take control of your life, to chase your goals, to become the person you were meant to be. The only thing left to do is take action. And if you're ready to keep growing, to keep pushing forward, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because this is just the beginning. There's so much more to learn, so much more to explore, and I'll be here every step of the way to bring you the knowledge, the motivation, and the mindset you need to succeed. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay with me on this journey. Because your future is in your hands, and I know you're capable of achieving incredible things. Now go out there and make it happen.